Let's talk about how I finally stopped being a coward and plucked up the courage to actually start posting on YouTube. If I start, people are going to start making fun of me because I was a bit of a pussy. You're pathetic. You just have to start somewhere. It's the embarrassment of failure, which is necessary, by the way, to accomplish your dreams. You got two sort of people who had a dream and gone for it, and people who had a dream and sit back and don't go for it. Which one of those people do you want to be? So let's talk about how I finally stopped being a coward and plucked up the courage to actually start posting on YouTube, and how I finally started and how it all came about, really, because it was a long process for me because I was a bit of a pussy and didn't really have the balls and was stuck on an issue of posting. Now let's go back to the start of it all, and when I finally actually decided that I wanted to do this. I wanted to film videos and post videos and embarrass myself, basically. And it does all start from little small steps. Because when I was younger, I used to watch YouTube all the time, main source of entertainment. So I sort of did always want to be a YouTuber, but I hadn't figured out what videos I wanted to make and what I wanted to do yet. And fast forward 10 years or whatever, I'm now doing it. And like I said, it's a long journey, technically, from the spark of the idea to actually doing it. All in all, it took about a year, realistically, for me to post. And what I figured out was, what I figured out in life is you just have to start somewhere. That's all. Because, see, I have a problem. I have a difficulty, or had. I don't even know if I have it anymore. But I had a difficulty starting things. That was always the most difficult part for me. Because it's like, right, I've got to start and I've got to do this and this. And then everything just starts getting a bit overwhelming and a bit like, oh, that's a lot of stuff that I don't know. As a world that's not me, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to be awful at it. I don't want to be awful at it. I want to start and I want to do this and I want to be good at it. What got me there was small little steps. Focus on the next thing you have to do. And I did also know that sort of information. It didn't help me. You realise it is literally the smallest step that you need to do. Right, buy a mic. Or what? Not even that. What's your setup? Right, we're going to film on my phone. Figure that out. Right, what's it look like on my phone? Right, where do I want to film? Figure that out. Well, we'll film on the way to work or on the way to driving places. So what do you need? You need a mount. Get a mount. Film. See what it looks like. Right, you film. And then you figure out, well, the audio's shit. Right, so I need a mic. So then you figure out mics. And this is even before the point of video ideas, of channel names, of anything like that. You've got to start at the productive things. Ignore channel name, ignore what you're going to film about. Get the filming sorted. Let's figure that out. Then you start getting into it. Because the first day you film, you're awful. You can't speak on camera. You forgot how to English. You're pathetic, basically. You can't string a sentence together that makes sense. Your thoughts don't come to you for some reason. You get a bit of camera shyness. You'll speak too quietly. You'll not be bold on camera. All these things will happen and you've just got to get past them. But you can't think about them. They'll come and you'll watch it and you'll go, oh, that's an awful video. And then you sit down and you go, why? Pick one thing, why? Right, I'm a bit quiet. Speak up. Right, next one. Right, thoughts don't flow. Right, let's try just speaking. Doesn't matter what words you say, just speak. And I think for me, I was aiming to be perfect straight off the back of it all. And I think that's the issue with everything when people try and start something. You try and be perfect. I remember running with someone and they would complain about how hard it is and they can't believe people can run 5k in 30 minutes. That's ridiculous to them. What you've got to understand, and what I told that person in that situation when it comes to running, is do you realise how disappointed you'd be as a runner if you'd been running for 4 or 5 years and hit your 5k in 30 minutes, let's say, and then someone come along day one and did 5k in 30 minutes, day one, you'd be pissed off. You'd be like, what the hell? It's took me all this hard work to get into this position. And 30 minutes on a 5k isn't an amazing time, but the more work you put in, you'll realise that 4 or 5 years down the line, you can probably get 5k in 20 minutes. But the first day that you start, you do 5k in 40 minutes. You can't even do a 5k, let's say. And it's the baby steps, because you've got to put the work in. It's literally time. Time gets you there. You just keep going. No matter what you do, you just keep doing. And then time comes, as time goes along, you get there, you do it. As long as you just keep going. And that's my sort of number one advice if you ever wanted to start YouTube or film videos. Because I know it's a big idea, it's a big ask. And the first thing is just keep going. Just do something. Like I said, I weren't perfect. It took me a year to post. I was filming for a full year before I posted. Before I got over my issues of why I weren't posting. And ultimately, it goes down to embarrassment. Now, if you scroll back and you watch the videos at the start, and even my first video, I talk about it. Why I've not posted after a year of filming. And it is a bit of perfectionism. A bit of, you want your first video to be perfect, to be the one. And you won't post until you feel that. I know that my first video is probably shit. But at the time, I'm like, this is the one I want. And it felt right. Now, you can either do that and wait for it to feel right, but realistically, when it comes to it, it doesn't matter, because it's not going to be good. And in a sense, like that running example that I'm talking about, you don't want your first video to be good. You don't want your start to be showing everyone fakeness. I posted my first video and I did not hide that it took me a year to post. Everyone needs to know that it is difficult and it does take a long time to do that. Now, throughout that year that I filmed, now is when I'm posting those videos. So those shit videos are coming out. Basically, are out now. And that's, for me, it goes hand in hand with the point of my videos. I almost kind of want to embarrass myself. I want to show the journey. I want to show how you're shit at it at the start. How you're awful at it at the start, and how everyone's awful at the start. And you're thinking, well, you might get some gifted people who are great at it, but that's not how it works. They've transferred skills from another area over here, so they've been through it somewhere else. But to actually start, like I said, what's your next step? Have you figured out your setup? Have you figured out how you're actually filming? The equipment, it's a difficult part, and it's a hurdle. It doesn't matter how difficult that hurdle is. If it's a hurdle, it'll set you back at the start. So let's not focus on the biggest hurdle, which is you, and how you're embarrassed about posting. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's most people's sort of hurdle that they can't get over, that it's embarrassing to post. And it is a big hurdle. And I get it. I understand that hurdle because I went through it myself, and everyone will. But let's focus and get everything set up first for when you feel more comfortable, and you can then tack that embarrassment head on because you've got everything else sorted out. If I sat here and tried figuring out how to not be embarrassed, how to set up a camera, how to set up a bloody mic, find the right mic for a start, find the right angle you want to film at, it's just too much. Find out what you want to actually say and film about all at once. It is just too much for most people. So start. You just have to do something, and at the end of the day, you got the rest of your life to figure it all out. You got the rest of your life to figure it out. So stop stressing so much. Ease up and say, I'm eventually going to do it. I still don't sit here and say my videos are amazing, entertaining and everything. From now to day one, everything's changed so much of what I do. I said I weren't going to edit silences, it was going to be raw, natural. But at the end of the day, that is boring. And it's not necessarily needed. As long as you can be you and be authentic and not script things and say things how you want to say, you don't have to have the raw pauses and the stuff that's not actually interesting. Now I'm trying to figure out how to make videos interesting but with a mix of still being you. That is not something you need to worry about when you start. But because we're so obsessed with not being embarrassed, not putting a video out that is shit, you don't ever start. That's the big hurdle that people don't want to cross. It's the embarrassment. If I start, people are going to start making fun of me. If anyone's had a dream, you got two sorts of people who had a dream and gone for it, and people who had a dream and sit back and don't go for it. Which one of those people do you want to be? And every single person in this world is either of those. They've had a dream and they've gone for it, or they've had a dream and they've not gone for it. And the people that are laughing at you are in the category of they have a dream and they're not going for it, because they wouldn't laugh at you. And now some people can banter with you, I get that. Sometimes it's banter. But sometimes it's jealousy, and sometimes it's just their own insecurity because they haven't gone for their dream. Because if you go for your dream, you realise the process that they're actually in. You realise which part of the dream they're in. You realise they're at the start, and you realise how tough it is, and you realise it's the embarrassment of failure, which is necessary, by the way, to accomplish your dreams. You need that pressure from behind you, that failure. You need something chasing you saying, if you don't do well at this, you're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to get kicked out the tribe. No one's going to be wanting friends with you. No one's going to want to know you. You need that little bit of pressure to fuel you, to push you along. And you need to be chasing that dream. You need to be looking forward and looking back saying, I don't want to fail. And a little bit of that is okay. Until it starts breaking you, that's when it's got to ease off. And this is where you look into small steps. And I know I've heard that advice with things growing up, and it did not help me. But I wasn't looking small enough, and I wasn't looking at the right steps. This is a blueprint to start YouTube, but it's also a blueprint to achieve your dreams. Because to achieve them, you have to start. And that's the important part. Just start. Figure out the main chunk of what is it that you want to do. I want to film YouTube. Let's get the filming part started. We don't have to post. Let's get a video that's decent. Something that you can stand. Something that you think, that's alright. That's on the path to something. And for me, I knew if I didn't start, it would just push the timeline along like it has since I was a kid. But it took me a year to post because I had to go through things until I felt comfortable posting. But if I would never have just started filming, it would have been a year along, because you've still got to go through that process of figuring out how to actually do the dream. Whatever it is, that's why you just have to start, because they're just the hurdles that you know about. You haven't even come across the hurdles that you haven't thought about ever. And that thought can overwhelm you. So just start, just go for it. Just, you don't have to post anything, you just get a video sorted, and then focus on that, and focus on why isn't it how I want it. Figure that out. Try, and if you don't know, just try random shit, basically. That's how I did it. So, peace.
Life feels like it's completely changed. That I was saying, bring on the bad times. Let's get tested again. I'll be honest, that happened. I got tested again. You've gone to paradise and you've come back and normal feels like hell. You get lost in the bullshit. You get lost in your own mind. And I was humbled. And the realisation of only as good as your current mindset. We're all vulnerable to have a shit time, no matter the level of it.